Right, we are here at Lee Marvin Hitchman's book event, Manchester. Beautiful space. How are you feeling? Got the butterflies?
Yeah, I've got butterflies. I'm quite nervous, but you know, everything's going to go all right. Kira's with me, my sidekick, so everything should go fine.
Always. It'll be a really good night.
Really good night. We'll have a good evening.
Just
we'll
talk like you normally do.
Yeah, talk my head off like I normally do. So we'll be all right. So thank you guys, everyone. Please, everyone came. We've got enough here, haven't we? So it's a good
yeah, got a lovely full house as well. All these people.
Yeah, I've got a few people around, so it's going to be all right. There's enough people here, so yeah, I'm glad everyone came who did. You know, there's a lot of. We're all right. We did well. Talk a little bit about the book tonight and about how I grew up and the life I led. You know, being born in prison and all that, and everything what come after that. You know, meeting the birth family and what happened with my birth parents and stuff like that. We're quite excited to talk about tonight. So a lot of people are here to read that. So I'm going to get into that as soon as possible. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, guys. I'm a bit nervous, but the nerves are there. Nothing's good if you've not got butterflies when you do it. Nothing's good. So yeah.
I've given him a good yardstick. My first book event was in London. I travelled 2 hours. I'm from the Dole. Another author was there. It was like two of us, and only 2 people showed up, and that was to see the other author. Fortunately, her boyfriend felt so sorry for me. He bought one of my books.
Thank God there's a few more people here.
You've woke me, Marvin.
Yeah.
You've got full house. Yes.
You know, which I'm quite pleased about, Shawnee boy. Yeah. Everything will go good tonight. Everyone's waiting to hear the story, so to tell everyone about it, Sean. You know. Sure. Let's get going. Let's get cracking.
Shall we?
Ready? Yeah. Let's go.
Take a seat, Marv, and I'll introduce you. Shall I do that?
I think he might have the guy. I think the guy in the green's going to say something first.
No, we just spoke about it.
Oh, okay.
He wants me to do it.
Oh, okay, yeah, go for it.
So
yeah. You have to eject him.
Right, guys.
Yeah, totally.
Right, good evening, everybody. My name's Dave Palmer. I'm an ex-criminal and a crime writer from London. I've come up here tonight to support Marvin in his journey and hopefully give some pointers to other people if they want to talk to me afterwards about their journeys. That's absolutely fine. I'm here for that. I've read Marvin's book and I've got to say it's very, very brave. It's outstanding, really. I mean, for someone to put their heart on the line like that and really get it out there, it's so authentic, which is why I'm here, because I love it. Authenticity is part of the journey, right? Especially when you're writing about true crime. I mean, I personally, at the moment, I write about crime fiction, which is based on some of my own journey, so I've sort of turned it into fiction. But I would recommend looking at Marvin's book. It's a terrific example of life in Manchester in those days, and I'll repeat, a very, very brave analysis of your life. And on that basis, I'm going to leave you to it and just say
thank you.
Welcome to everybody.
Yeah, thank you everyone for coming. I really appreciate everyone's effort and the time it took to come tonight. Yeah, and we'll get right into it and let's get talking about things. Yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you.
Right, thank you. So there's going to be a few spoilers in this. So if you haven't read the book, there's going to be a few spoilers. Hashtag just saying.
I'm going to try and keep them to the minimum. Though.
Yeah, we'll try and keep them to a minimum.
But we can do things around it, can't we?
Yeah, so the first sentence in your book and the first chapter, I don't think I'll ever forget it in terms of how powerful it was. It starts off with, I was born in distress. Obviously the title of your book is Born in Prison. So can you just sort of take us to the beginning, to where your story started?
Yeah, sure. So my story started exactly that, being born in distress. I found myself later in life banging my head repeatedly off a pillow. I used to wrap my arms around the pillow, bang my head off that and count numbers. And a day, bang, 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 you're keeping us awake. And then a day, bang, bang, bang off my sister, and she'd say, you know, we put him into sleep, so I didn't know which one to do, so I just kind of... So I'd bang my head off the pillow and like I was looking for something very early on, you know what I mean? And it wasn't until very much later on in my life that I found that I was born in distress.
Yeah.
So I never knew what that meant, but then as soon as I seen it, I realised, this is what it meant. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's literally on my birth thing, born in distress, and like I was quite dumbfounded by that. I got all my mum was a prisoner, you see, so my mum was a prisoner in HMP Style. It's a women's prison in Wilmslow in Cheshire. She went there for a criminal charge. Spent a few months in there, had me while I was in there. So God knows the horror she must have went through, like being dragged to an hospital somewhere in a chain. Because when they used to take you to hospital back then, you put a big thing on your big bracelet, and it'd be a 30-foot chain. And because I've been to hospitals and prisons before, and it's very, very heavy chain what you've got to carry around, you know.
Yeah.
It's like a lead, and they make you wear that non-stop from the minute you walk out the prison till the minute you get back. Or if you're in the hospital, they'll keep you on it. So clearly she was on a chain, you know. And she had a battle to keep me from the start. My mum was being told if she gave me away, I'd go to 2 doctors. I don't know, I got told that off my auntie later on in my life. She said that my mum was saying to me that I was going to be given to 2 doctors a better life. Clearly it's a better life than she's living in as an addiction. Little did I know, my dad was also in prison as well. I found out later on in life my dad was in prison as well, so I was born in distress because of the 2 addicts what, you know, conceived me. Yeah.
So, and then you were adopted to a Welsh lady and a Jamaican.
That's right, yeah.
Jamaican
A
father.
Welsh lady and a Jamaican man. The Welsh woman was very, very nice, but the Jamaican man, he was very, very strict. He didn't know any other way to. He didn't know any way to raise me. You know, he just used a belt and a bamboo cane. He was just quite a very angry man, you know. But we managed to live with that and live with his rage. But what was funny is he never hit my mum, you know, my adoptive mum. It was just the young uns, you know. He'd come home sometimes in a fit of rage and beat me on the step.
Yeah.
Like we had a small little tiny pool table, snooker table. I remember him beating me on that one time. I remember many years later, I'm in jail and my mate Jamie Hamlin, who's dead now, he went, "Oh Marv, I remember when your dad levered you on that step when we was playing snooker," you know, and it made me feel quite a way, you know. And also the neighbour who my dad had recently, it's like my adoptive dad has now passed away, but my neighbour who we had recently, his earliest memory of anything is me being beat. He said to us one day, quite randomly to me and my partner, he said, "Oh, I remember my first ever memory as of you being beaten and running, me running to my mum's crying because you'd been beaten." That was his first ever memory, you know.
Yeah, and talking of first memories, you also have a very poignant bit in the book where you say that you still remember your first memory with your mum.
I'm still, in some weird way, I don't know how I can describe it, but I can still feel that last time my mum held me in her arms. It's somewhere in my brain, somewhere in there, and I can feel being in my mum's arms and the energy and the teardrops. I don't know why I think I can remember that, but I used to take a lot of hallucinogens when I was younger, and I used to get this reoccurring nursery rhyme. So I used to take more hallucinogens to try and get into this nursery rhyme because I thought it was a connection to my mum. So yeah, I used to do that a lot when I was a kid. Yeah.
And it was Ancoats that you grew up in. What was childhood like then?
Ancoats was a funny old place back then, and there was a lot of empty houses, a lot of buildings, factories, a lot of working factories, a lot of mills and stuff, making stuff. There was a few printing factories as well, so there was one making scratch and stickers, scratch and sniff. And we all took great delight in burgling it. You know, all the older boys, for as long as I can remember, everyone used to burgle the scratch and sniff factory on our estate. You know, so it was just a thing where everyone used to find them all over the floor every few weeks, you know, where someone broke in. So Ancoats was quite a different place than it is now, you know. It's all multi-million-pound apartments, but back then it was just mills and a scrapyard and empty mills. All the mills was empty back then. I used to climb in, people would light fires in them. I'd climb up the lift shaft on the wire and stuff, very dangerous, climbing in and out of the mills. And one of them up there was called Annabella's Tower, and apparently a woman jumped off it when we was kids, but we never knew. It was probably a story, wasn't it?
Was that an urban legend, you're right?
I think so.
Fair play. So, did you move around in Anco? So, it was when you were 11, was that right, that you moved to the estate?
Yeah, so what happened when I was 11 was we moved off Hancock's estate and we moved over the hill, which is over Mellor Street, which is over Butler Street, which is classed as Miles Platting. But my dad always said to me, don't go over the canal and don't go over the hill when we moved to the new estate. And opposite this new estate is 4 big block of flats, and there was a lad in there who lived in one of the flats, and he said to me one day, have you had a games console like an Amstrad tape thing? And he said he had games for it, and he didn't in fact have games for it. He took me over to the paedophile's house and I was raped. And that was a very horrendous time I went through as an 11-year-old, from 11 onwards. I had a very bad time.
Yeah. And then you started taking drugs just to forget that, didn't you?
I did, yeah. Well, what I did is when I was a bit younger than that, I watched someone sniffing glue. So when I was being abused, I started using glue and gas as like an escape. And I used that for a long time. And I was disruptive in school, I was playing up, I was wagging school, I wasn't concentrating. I mean, even once I got punched off a teacher in my forehead and left a ring imprint in my forehead. That's how much I played up in school. I was very, I couldn't concentrate.
But I mean, it's not surprising given everything that was going on that you had that. Weren't there like social workers like there are today? Because like now social workers be all over.
There was no such thing as a social worker. I never ever seen, like I was adopted and I never ever seen social services come to that house to see me once. And my dad said to me that the police come round once to tell him to stop beating one of our cousins in inverted commas. My dad was disciplining another family member's friend's daughter.
Right.
He was beating her, and she remembers it to this day, being beat off my dad. That's one of, she don't go near him now. She says, oh, Sonny always beat me when I was a kid, you know. And my dad said to me one day, it's funny, he went, I remember the police coming to my house and telling me to stop beating this girl, I don't want to say her name, you know, stop beating her. And I was like, wow, Dad, really, you got away with that when years ago, when you know you did back then, you know what I mean? There was no such thing as being abused or paedophiles or anything like that. There was no such thing. I didn't know what a paedophile was. And what was happening to me is I couldn't put it into words, because the man came round to my mum and dad's house and became a family friend. He used to just pick me up in his van, come round, say hello to my mum and dad, and literally just take me out in his van, take me down somewhere to go and do a delivery, and you know, abuse me in his van and drop me off at home. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It become the norm just to take that. You know, I didn't know any different anyway out of
And
that.
you saw other kids as well,
I
didn't
did,
you?
yeah, I did. I seen other kids going in his house as well. What kind of, it really concerned me, because what was funny was the caretaker of the whole block of flats lived right opposite this guy. I mean, as wide as that TV was, this side of the block to that side, the doors. So he lived this door, the caretaker lived that door, and the paedophile lived this door. And Jeff, the caretaker, used to come out there every day mopping the floors. And I used to go up in my school uniform, going up in the flats, and he'd just look at me and just not say anything to me, and I think, can you not put into words what's happening to me? I'm a young boy in a school uniform going into a paedophile's house, but nothing ever got said.
I mean, it's no surprise that you weren't paying attention at school and you were being disrupted, weren't you, with that going on? So when was it?
I was going into the city centre as well. I was down around the beat area a lot. I found comfort in the prostitutes. I remember one of them one day, I was very young, and she said to me like, don't be robbing the girls and that, because you get a bad name, and I'll never forget her saying that to me. You know what I mean? It stuck with me, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we'll come back because we've got some interesting stories from your time with prostitutes. And I think there's a lot as well from a psychology point of view, I think, like about why you sort of hung around.
Yeah, it probably makes sense, doesn't it?
It was solace in people who had child trauma, which is what you were saying.
Yeah.
And they were in essence holding a mirror. And I think there's also, what comes across in the book was that you wanted to try to save each other, but you couldn't.
Yeah, it was mad, yeah. I got that all the way through. I mean, we used to save our friends. I remember my mate, we was hanging around the coach area, and my mate was a little blonde guy, and I mean, he was up to my shoulders, and he went in the toilet to have a wee, and we heard him screaming, help! And we all ran into these toilets, and these two men had got hold of him. They let him go, obviously, and we was trying to get at these two men, and the police just come and got the men and put them in a van and drove off. It was incredible. Didn't say nothing to him what he was doing or anything, you know. This kid was just screaming at the police station.
Well, so one big part of your story then is the addiction, and this sort of all started early on.
It did.
And it was Manchester,
yeah.
And before the Hacienda there was the Thunderdome.
It was the Thunderdome 1998.
Sean's favourite top there.
Sean's favourite topic, yeah.
Favourite club.
The Thunderdome was a nightclub in Ancoat in Miles Platting on Oldham Road. And it was funny, one of my first memories in there, we used to go in there and sell ecstasy and whiz and LSD and stuff, yeah. And there was coach loads of people used to come. And I'd been nicked for a street robbery in the city centre, and the police officer who interviewed me, I never forgot his face, I can still see it now. And the cop who interviewed me was dancing on the dance floor with a glass of water, and I just looked and I was losing it, and I've trips. I looked and I went, that's the police. I went over to all my friends, I went, the police are in here, the police are in here, I've just seen him dancing. They're like, Marv, calm down, you're tripping, mate. I'm like, oh my God, no. Please don't tell me you don't believe me. They're like, you calm down, mate, you need a water or something. I'm like, there's a police officer there who interviewed me. Go and find him, come on, show me. I looked back, I can't see him, obviously he must have squirted off. So only one person, my best friend, come with me, and we're walking down the road, and all of a sudden we just see loads of police, I'll raid it, yeah, tons of police, yeah. So that getting raided, it caused a bit of a clampdown on the rave scene, you know. Manchester was like, we was like classed as criminals, like dancing on cars and on roofs and going to Sale Water Park off, dancing on a motorway. We was classed as like these crazy criminals, weren't we? We was the worst thing could happen to society at the time. It was crazy, you know. The rave scene, where it was classed as like these what do you call it? Anti-crime people.
Anti-government, wasn't
Yeah,
it? It was
yeah.
anti-society.
Anti-society.
I remember, I mean, I'll show my age here, but I remember those adverts in the newspapers when they're saying, here's a drug addict, it's a terrorist. And it was like, oh, chill out, bro. Do you know what I mean? Just taking some pills, allegedly.
It was looked at very bad, wasn't it? And I think Leah Betts, she was one of the girls who died. I think she died in 1992, I can remember rightly. And Leah Betts' death on ecstasy caused a massive scene, didn't it? The government wanted to clamp down on everything. I think they made ecstasy class A at the time. And everyone was just saying it was this love drug, wasn't it? I mean, it was this much of a drug, love drug, that people used to hook people all night on ecstasy. You know, people that takes ecstasy and want to be best friends with people who they don't even know, they've never spoke to before. You know, that ecstasy was just this crazy drug. Everyone was just sparkly-eyed and glittery and giving everyone hugs, you know. And I think too much money come into the scene eventually. It started getting a bit ugly, you know. Gangsters jumping the bars, taking the till money and controlling the bar, passing all the mates drinks and all that. That's how it started. Little areas doing that, little Salford gang doing that, and then you had the little Moss Side gang doing that, and then you had the Cheetah Mill gang doing that. And then they was all making money on their own little areas and showing off in the clubs then. And then all of a sudden it just turned into everyone was enemies, you know. There was shotguns and double barrel shotguns coming on the dance floors and stuff from nowhere, you know what I mean? And I knew the people who was doing it, and like I'd say to what are you doing with that? We'll put it away, you know, and be like, nah, this is serious, move, you know, because I was only a kid 14, like, move, you know what I mean? One of them's dead now, the main one who used to be doing that, a lot of shotguns. Used to go in a club with double barrel shotguns down a long trench coat, you know, terrorise half the club, you know, the dance floor. I think it was just intimidation to control the club doors back then. There was a lot of money involved, wasn't there? So I think that's why it was done, you know. But yeah, I think them times was just a loved up drug time, wasn't there? I mean, I had £170 in my shirt pocket once. Fell asleep in a 3-storey house, which was a rave, in Wally Range, and woke up and the money's gone. And this guy with dreadlocks went, "Mate, here's your money, I've just been minding it for your 170 quid.
Yeah.
Just never happened if it went high on ecstasy, you know.
So it was after parties, wasn't it? Like you first
After
ended up
parties.
trying
Yeah.
coke, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, what happened was, I was in a nightclub in Rock World.
Good old Rob World. Does that still go in?
I think we shut down recently. It was about 30 years ago in that one.
Yeah.
Rock World,
Rob
Jenny's.
World and Jilly's, yeah.
Jellies or something, yeah. So I was in Rock World one night and I seen this girl who was dancing on the dance floor, and I just got talking to her at the end of the night, and she said she lived near the Salvation Army in Hardwick, so it was close to me. So I'm dabbing whizzing a Rizzler, and she said, "Do you want to come back to mine?" I said, "Sure." Sat there with her just talking, and if I've took cocaine or I've tried it in a spliff, kind of showing off. And I thought she was just going to come in with a joint. So you got any money? I went, "Yeah, yes." And I had loads of money on me. And she went, "Give us 40 quid. So I passed the 40 quid, she went off with it. Met a guy in the kitchen and came in with like a glass like this with foil on it, with crap on it. I went, "Just suck on that." And without thinking of doing anything else, I just sucked on this pipe and held it in, and I thought, I'm going to be addicted to that.
Did you know instantly?
Yeah, immediately, yeah.
And
Very
then-
clever. I knew I was going to be addicted straight away. It's crack cocaine. It's the most dangerous drug in the world. It's the most addictive drug on the planet. You know, cocaine's not around these streets all day, not for a reason. It's for a reason. Cocaine is a very, very addictive drug, you know.
Yeah.
That's why all the kids are trying it now. It's a very, very dangerous drug, you know, so...
So how did that moment then immediately change? Was there?
I'll tell you what happened. I thought, all them drugs what I was taking, nothing's better than this one. Nothing's better than this one. And I went, "Where are you buying that from?" And she said, "Oh, there's some guy," and I bought some more. Left her some and went to my mate's house and got him to try it. I said to him, "This is his best thing since sliced bread. It's better than all the other drugs combined." And so we both got a little habit on that before you could blink.
And how quickly was the step from trying that to then the life of crime to sort of keep this going?
Wow.
Was it
Well,
instant?
I was a drug dealer at the time. You used to be able to knock on my door, 10th floor black door, and buy weed. But I had a job as on the CIS building, cleaning the glass on there once. I got a job on doing an agency work. That was I only got that job, and then my sister said to me she could get me a job in a factory which was on Newton Heath, and I got nicked from there, theft from a factory, theft from a workplace. I got arrested for. So I knew working wasn't for me then. So I knew drug dealing was the way forward. I didn't know any other way, you know. I had people knocking on my door just buying drugs off me, so I just thought that was the normal thing to do, you know what I mean?
Fair play. And how easy was it to get the drugs and to sort of sell on? Was it selling in your estate?
Yeah, it was just I had people coming to my door just buying. I used to have this, it's funny, I used to have this Jamaican guy who owned a record shop in Moss Side Precincts, and his nickname was Pedo.
It's
Very
unfortunate
shrewd,
nickname.
marvellous.
Nah, but
Very
he was just a normal guy. That was his
Was he a
nickname.
normal guy who was a
wasn't
pedo, or
pedo.
was he like
No.
You need
P
to
and
explain
something
it
else?
To
Yeah.
explain, the guy was just a normal guy.
So where did you
but
get the
back
name
then, Back then, the word pedo didn't
No,
mean
but everyone
anything.
was, where did you get the name from?
That's what his nickname was, Pedo. And he used to have a record shop. He was just a rasta guy.
That's unfortunate.
Oh,
Yeah,
Bit of-
it didn't mean, that name at the time didn't mean anything to us, so it was just his name. You know, I mean, there'd be people here who know what we're talking about. Just that was his nickname, you know. So
Duran coats as fuck that then, mate.
yeah, I used to bring me bags. I used to bring me carrier bags of weed, bushweed and carrier bags of it.
So when
And
you
no one had it on Ancoat, so I was the only one who sold bushweed.
when you got sacked from the factory, was that
Yeah.
what happened there?
Well,
was
the
that
person who I was with at the time, she got pregnant. So my firstborn is called Miles, and he's 32 now. But me and her was already breaking when she was pregnant. We was going through a bad time. You know, I didn't expect her to get pregnant. She told me she was on the pill. I was only 17. I wanted a family. I didn't want a baby out of wedlock. because I knew I was an orphan and adopted. I wanted a full family and a happy family, you know. So I didn't want to with someone who I was too young, and I knew I was too young. But we spoke about it, and like we agreed to keep the baby. But I was an addict by then. I got addicted to crack when she was pregnant.
And how old were you at this point?
17. Rolling into 18, I got addicted to crack cocaine, yeah. And I was just buying it every day, selling weed and buying it every day. At first you couldn't buy it, there was nowhere to buy it from. I could only buy it in one place where you could drive and go and get it. There was a kid on our estate who sold it, and he turned his phone off at 9 o'clock at night. So that's how new crack cocaine was. He turned his phone off at 9 o'clock, you couldn't buy it again. So you used to have to travel for it, you know.
Where did you have to travel to for it?
You know where, you know, I don't need to say, the usual place.
Yeah.
I'd have to go down there for it, and it was quite dangerous, so a lot of the times I was the one who would go and get it, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then it was in the city centre, so then all the working girls would say to me, can you go and get the best crack? So I'd go down to them sides and go and get the best crack, you know. And because I was a black guy, they'd know me a bit, you know what I mean? And our face was familiar, so I could buy the crack for all the working girls, you know what I mean? So it was quite new.
And were they all on it?
Addicts, alcohol, heroin and crack. Yeah, so my addiction got worse then.
So were you dealing and a full-time
So the
addict at
working
the same
girls,
time?
sometimes I was getting like 10 pieces of rock, putting it into 10 pieces and selling to the working girl, giving them a smoke, and then he was giving me money, and then I was going to my side for him. So I'd always have a smoke with him first, and then score for him all night, you know, in the evenings and stuff like that. But I was doing robberies as well. Like some of the girls was vulnerable, man. I didn't like some of the girls doing punters. It just pained me in my heart, you know what I mean? And I'd say to him, let's just rob the money and just jack the money and pretend to be police. And I did that a few times. Just got a mobile phone, went, police, give us your money, lad, and then just took the money off him and just ran off. You know?
What, you just put up your mobile phone? Didn't you have like a fake badge or anything? Did you just
no, it was mobile phones was brand new back then.
Right.
It was like a novelty pulling out a phone, you know, so we pull it out, pretend it was a radio and go, police, yeah, and just half drunk cut and just say, what I'd never do is take the wedding ring or the wallet.
Right.
I'd always, because I used to work with this working girl called Diane, and she said to me, Mark, if you ever fucking rob the wallet, I'm going to tell you. She's dead, she was in the 40s then. And so I made sure I never robbed the ring and the ring and the wallet. And the reason why is because she said to me, what are the man's going to do when he goes home and his wedding ring's missing and his wallet? You can't rob them, you know what I mean? And I learned not to take them. So I'd just take a few quid out of the pocket and give him the money and help him in a taxi out the time.
Yeah.
You know, get him a black cab so they didn't get robbed off someone else in town.
Thoughtful. At least you're being thoughtful.
Yeah, I'd be thoughtful, yeah.
Right.
I was a helpful person.
A helpful robber.
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Yeah.
I got nicked for robbery when I was 13.
Was that the first time?
First time, yeah. My mate had gone up to someone and showing off, took a signet ring off him. And I went, if you've got a sig, mate, he gave me a sig and I got nicked. So, right, to go guilt for robbery.
Fair play.
Yeah.
So then, talking of robbery, talk to us about like when you first went to prison then. What were the circumstances leading up to that? Because that is a significant part of your life, and you say that you spent more time.
Yeah, prison was an horrendous place. When I first went to prison, I walked in and there was just a bed frame and a piss bucket, a yellow stained piss bucket. And I walked in, I went, boss, where's my mattress? He went, mate, you're going to have to go and graft one in a bit. I had to wait 3 hours till association, opened up the shower, and I had to go and ask the cleaners, like, can I have one of your mattresses from under your bed, mate? You know, he's got 3 mattresses on his bed, living nice, and I went, mate, you can have a mattress. But because, you know what I mean, some kids wouldn't do it, and, you know, it was a struggle. And you'd have to piss in a bucket, or if your pad mate was in your cell and he wanted to poo, he'd have to poo in a piece of paper, fold it up and put it through the little inch squares on the windows and throw it out. Because that would happen all summer, all the cells would keep doing that. This smell this horrendous smell of wee, where you're peeing out the window and pooing in paper. In the summertime, the smell would just become horrendous. But that's how you'd had your living, you know. Because you was a young offender, you used to have to make your bed as well. Make a bed pack in the morning, strip all your bed. Strip all your bed and fold it in a little square at the end of your bed in the morning. You used to have a shave as well. And you couldn't watch this, you didn't have a TV, you'd watch a movie on the Saturday afternoon for an hour and a half, and that was that.
But how old were you when you first went?
20 when I first went to prison. And it was a shock to me, you know, it was a very, very scary experience. And I vowed never ever to touch crack again. All the way through that sentence, I swore I'd never take it again. And my discharge money, the minute I got money in my hand, I just thought, crack. Because I'd had no help. It was just like I was in a time warp. You know, I was a crack addict, and I got out of prison as many months later as it was, still addicted the same, you know. The money just looked like crack to me.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about this in the second bit, about reform and how to actually get prisoners to not fall back into the wagon and addiction.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting with your addiction that it seemed to have stopped when you made a connection, and it seems like a lot of people say that, but you know, we'll get back to that in a second.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
coming out of prison, how quickly were you back on the coke then?
Straight away.
Straight away.
Making my discharge money, yeah. But straight back into the swing of things, looking fresh, you know, with a lot of weight on and stuff. And I'd just be addicted to crack, you know. Because I used that as like a crutch. It was my crutch, it was what I used to cover everything else up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I used it as my wife, my mistress, my everything, you know, it was my cover, it was my warmth when I was cold in the night, you know. It was my best mate when I had it in my pocket, you know, while I was smoking the crack and while I had the crack.
And there's quite a few stories of you sort of hanging out with prostitutes and you sort of run games with them. As I mentioned before, there seems to be this congruency within the book that you were looking for someone who was broken or understood childhood trauma subconsciously, and you wanted to just be around them.
Yeah,
and then
it was just comfort, yeah. I think
it was
their
a
energy
comfort,
was,
familiarity in that,
it was indeed,
that mirror
yeah.
up to you.
It was indeed, yeah, because I always thought that, because I was picked, I always thought, well, you pick things off trees, you know, and there was these blackberry bushes near me, and you know blackberries burst, don't you? And I'd pick and burst them, and I'd think, I picked off summit, where's my like main tree, you know what I mean? And like, you know, it was a very tough time back then, you know, trying to think about my family, trying to digest it. But I couldn't think about it, it made me upset, just thinking about my birth family, you know, just trying to think who I was and where I come from. It made me highly upset, so I try not to think about it, you know. So I never told anyone when I was growing up that I was adopted or these wasn't my birth family. I just kept it to myself, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Same as the abuse, I kept that as me to myself, you know.
yeah, I mean, just like reading your stuff, I mean, I think it's quite obvious that you would end up being on that because it was a comfort, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Someone once told me, like, with addiction and with coke, you borrow from tomorrow's happiness, and that debt has to come back and be paid sooner or later. And that there feels like there are those moments when you keep saying, right, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it.
There was
But
many
it's
times.
too hard to because it was in front of you all the time.
Too nice, that's why.
Yeah.
It's
Too comforting with one blanket, like you say.
Yeah, it's an extremely addictive substance that if you have it once, it's very hard to let go of. It plunges you into a very deep depression. So like, I always say it like this, if you sniff coke once a week, or you like it on a weekend, or you like it every couple of weeks, just imagine that speeded up where you want it every 5 minutes. Just imagine, like you think, oh, I fancy a coke on a Saturday night. I like having it on a weekend. I won't mind having it next Saturday. You wait all week for that patient. You're quite happy to patiently wait. Just imagine if you can't wait, you can only wait 5 minutes. That's what you've got to imagine. That's how addictive it is, and the strength. And they're very, very difficult to not do it. Like literally, you'd scream your house down like for it. You know, you'd look for it. You'd search for it on the floor. Like people smoking at a ditch, picking on the floor and looking around and. They end up picking the face, and you know, I've seen it all, you know, I've seen the worst of the worst, you know.
Yeah, there's a story as well about you losing it in the snow.
Lost it in the snow.
But you found it, didn't you?
I did.
That's
indeed,
resourceful.
yeah.
That's resourceful.
It was resourceful, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I got loads of newspaper and burn it and let the snow melt, and that's all I found it.
That's what I'm saying, that's resourceful.
That's like
bro.
you're an
That's
adult.
right.
Let a roll of newspaper in the snow and searching for
It's
the
funny
snow.
now, it's really funny now,
Yeah, it was.
but it's resourceful.
Yeah, it was, yeah. And the only reason why I saved my life is because my mate was in, coked up, watching football, looking out the window, high on coke, paranoid. Like, I was at the window and you look down and see me, and I went, mate, I'm here freezing out. And dragged me in the house and got me one.
Yeah.
But I would have died that night, yeah, quite easily. I would have just froze in the snow. An horrendously snowy night.
And that's like the power of that drug that you
Yeah.
just don't know what's
Oh
going
yeah,
on.
yeah. It was only because, look, if I didn't have someone who cared about me, or someone who I thought I needed to go home to, I would have just stayed out and done that 24/7. The only reason I'm here talking to you is because I had somewhere to hold on to. You know, like you're holding on to a ledge. You go in a building, you go to the ledge. You're holding on to the ledge, don't you? That's what I was doing. I was literally holding on to the ledge. So I had somewhere because I was holding on to that ledge. And some people let go of that and they're on the street 24/7, and that's when you don't survive. And that's why 70-80% of the friends who I used to roll around, hang around with are not here anymore. Not here anymore. I mean, even from 10 years ago, the scene in Manchester has changed beyond belief. I mean, I think there's one person now who's about from back then 10 years ago, you know, who used to let on to me all the time and let on to my partner. They're gone. All of the people are gone now. They're not around anymore.
Yeah, I
He was
mean,
there in the droves.
we'll talk about Manchester and how it changed, how it's massively changed, because we've spoken about that
We
quite a
have
bit.
indeed, yeah, we
haven't we?
spoke about it a lot, yeah.
So the prostitutes that you used to hang around with, there was Diane, Joanne.
Yeah.
Are they still?
Chantal, the one who was being abused off her uncle and her dad.
Yeah.
It's a horrendous
That's
story,
a
that,
horrendous
innit?
story that she didn't say anything because she wanted to keep
Crazy,
the
wasn't
family
it?
together.
Crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
She lived, I tell you what, she lived near that long site, what's it called, that big concert hall. She lived in the shadow of
Co-op
that.
Live?
Apollo, yeah.
Apollo. Art Live, right now.
Yeah, she lived in the shadow of the Apollo. And when I met her, I'll never forget, she said to me, "Marv, don't get angry what you see in the house." I thought, what's she on about? Don't get angry in the house. And I walked in and her dad and her uncle in the living room. She went like, "Don't talk to me, just leave me alone, I'm going in my bedroom." She slammed the door and this big bolt was on the back of the door. And I went, "Chantal, what you got that all for?"
So the bolt was in her
Inside.
room, so
Yeah,
no one could
inside.
get in, right?
Nailed it to the door with a
Yeah.
bolt. And she went, when my dad and uncle abused me, when I'm drunk, I was like, what? Then my uncle comes in. My uncle comes in and abuses me when I'm drunk. I'm, what the fuck you mean? And she went, "Don't, please, Marv, don't go in there and say nothing." And why? She said, "It's my family, it's all I've got. They're all I've got." You know what I mean? And she won't rob punters, she'd do punters. She'd do punters. And I remember this maid head from Moss Side going in her house. And I'm sat downstairs. And this guy, he's dead now. It's called Morris, and he was a bit of a monster, Morris, to girls. And she said to me, she come down the stairs and went, "Marv, he wants me to finger, do something what I don't want to do. And I need him out, rapid now." And I thought, shit, what am I going to do? But I knew the electric board, you know, the blackboard thing. And I just thought, fuck it, I'm doing it. It was night time, I just pulled it out. And just what's going on in here? And she went, "You better get out, someone's going to rob the house, I think something's happening." And he just ran out in his boxer shorts and just ran off down the street. And that was the only thing I could do. Just pull the lights.
Again, I think we need to comment on how resourceful you are.
Yeah.
Captain Resourceful over here. You know, I mean, using initiative though, I like it. There's a lot of characters in your book that you talked about.
Yeah.
Right, this is the canal pusher. You know, when you started talking about Black Way,
I know.
I was like, is this
It's
like
funny,
the
you
feeling
know.
of the canal pusher?
It's funny, you know,
Let him
because
speak.
I know who the canal. I know a mate of mine was convicted for a manslaughter for pushing people in the canal.
Yeah.
I went to school with him, yeah. And he was convicted for a manslaughter for the canal pushing.
When was that?
Years and years ago, when we was in our late 20s. He got nicked about 20 years ago for doing it. And a few people have gone in that canal. A few friends of mine have gone in that canal as well. And a few people close to me have gone in that canal, been killed as
Yeah.
well.
They say it's like drug overdose.
Yeah, they say it's drug
There's someone
overdoses,
close
but
to us, it's like a
family member. He was in the MAN, so I'm not saying it
Yeah,
for a
well-
reason. And he was seen to be drunk in a pub and he's tippled over and fell in a
Fell
canal.
in,
But
and
it's very convenient. 5 hours before he got a big payout, and there was a load of
Yeah.
drug addicts who cuckooed his house in that
Yeah.
meantime.
Yeah. So he'd been given compensation and walked down the canal, and he went in and they found him with no money in his pockets. But yeah, that happens quite a lot on that canal. It's
Yeah.
that canal is used a lot for crimes, put it that way.
And Black Wayne, he
Black Wayne, yeah, the sea Wayne, yeah. He used to do robberies under the canal bridge near the Hacienda.
Yeah.
Crazy guy. And I used to smoke with him under there sometimes. And I did say to him before he pulled a knife on me once, Wayne, you can't rob down there, man, it's bangers. And he's like, nah, it's sweet, man. And he pulled a knife on me once going down the canal, big, couldn't see, pitch darkness. Give me your shit. And I went, and I jumped back and recognised his voice. I went, Wayne, is that you? And he went, Marv, is that you? And I went, yeah, it's fucking me, alright. What you doing? And he went, oh, I'm so sorry, man, I'm sorry. Lost his glasses or something. See without his glasses on. Couldn't see
Do you know,
at all.
I was reading the Black Wayne bit and I thought, is this like the prelude of the canal pusher? And
Is that what he was hoping
Could
for?
be.
no, I was just like, this sounds like the beginning of it. I was
Yeah.
speaking to my sister and she goes, oh, why did they call him Black Wayne? I was like, well, because his name's probably Wayne and he's black.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I did call him Black Wayne because he's very...
You know White Wayne. That's right.
That's why, because I know what White
That's
Wayne.
predictable as it
That's
sounds.
why.
That's why he says
He's
it.
Black Wayne to me, yeah. But
So-
he's blind as a bat without them glasses on.
Talking of people who are infamous with a colour as their nickname, Purple Aki.
Yeah, I know him as well.
Do you know him as well?
Yeah, he lets on to me when I see
Are
him.
you from Manchester?
He
If
comes
you don't
through
know
Manchester
who
a
Purple
hell of a
Aki
lot.
is,
Yeah.
like literally,
He
are you
comes through
from
Manchester a lot. He's
Yeah,
always
no,
got
he
a carrier
does.
bag in his hand, hasn't
Yeah, like, last time I saw him, he had an Aldi bag.
he? Yeah.
But then, like a few months later, my mate saw him with a Waitrose bag.
Yeah, I've seen him.
Going up in
Bro's
the world.
going up in the world.
I've seen
didn't
him
he?
holding people. Listen,
Getting them YouTube views.
A kid from called Francie from Wythenshawe. There's two Frances in Wythenshawe. There's a black one and a white one. It's funny he said
You
that.
know again.
So white Francie was in, because the two Frances are very well known. White Francie was in the block in Strange Ways, and Aki started squeezing his muscles, and he Forest Bank, and he found out that what he did, and he hit him with a flask round his head, and Aki got his address and got his house, his bit smashed up with an axe in Wythenshawe, got his house blitzed. Yeah. So what he did is he smashed Aki with a flask, Purple Aki. Purple Aki got the lad's address and got the lad's bird's house smashed up with an axe.
He was a big lad though, wasn't
He
he?
was
Purple
very
Aki?
well connected.
Yeah.
Very well connected man he was. So you had to watch what he said around him, you know. But yeah, he used to in a cell, he'd say to you, I bet you can't climb through that chair, I'll give you an ounce to burn. Apparently this is how he used to get the boys in the chairs and rape them. Because he raped a few.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Oh, didn't know
not
that.
messed about. He is a
Yeah.
serious predator.
Yeah.
That's why he's banned from all gyms.
I mean, I remembered him being in for bullying Wigan Rugby League Football Club players
Yeah.
outside there all day. One of them he fancied and he was all over him. And he wouldn't leave him alone, he got locked up for it.
Yeah, he was like.
And there was a
Lucky
story
man.
that he used to put people in chairs.
Yeah.
Just don't know how true it is, do you?
No, but he was like growing up. He was like the boogeyman.
boogeyman.
Like don't do that. Purple Aki's gonna get you.
Purple Aki's good, that's what used to be said in Liverpool a lot.
Yeah. And then he started coming to Manchester quite a bit.
Manchester quite a bit, yeah. But he won a big case against the police, didn't he, for
Yeah, harassment.
a big bad mouth in his name, so you've got to be careful what you say about him.
Allegedly.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
alleged
Well, like
to,
English is my third language, so I don't know what I'm saying. That's my excuse anyway.
Yeah. We'll say purple wacky.
Purple Wacky, yeah, Purple Wacky. So we talked about you being really resourceful,
Yeah.
but you have a bit of an issue with attics, don't you? You always get caught in attics.
Caught in attics, yeah, you know,
Like
yeah.
Cash in the attic.
God, my God, yeah, that's a good
Like
one.
Marvin in the attic. So talk to us a bit about your not so being lucky in attics.
Yes, I deserved to get caught for this one anyway, because
Yeah.
it was an heroic thing to do. And he was a fella who used to trade in antique collectibles, cards and postcards and records.
and ornaments and this and that, and he had an house in Longside, right in the rough area, Langport Avenue, gangster area, Ogden area, and he had these big fern trees up, and he'd been in and out, and some working girl had said to me, that house is packed full of stuff, and she'd done business with him. She said the house was packed, and there was a board already took off the back kitchen window where someone had been in. The board had already been hanging off, so I pulled the board off and squeezed in. And there was a guy in town who used to buy the stuff, and I'd buy a box of stolen stuff. I'd just go in and pick a box of stuff up and take it down. And he started saying to me, I'll give you 200 quid for a box. So I went down with this lad, being greedy, went upstairs, told the lad, don't put the light on downstairs, which he did. First thing he did was put the light on, grabbed 2 boxes, he ran out. Me, I'm trying to be smart looking for postcards. Deservedly, the police come. I've got in the attic, I'm lying there in the attic thinking, please don't. Police went, hey, you lying down there? Lift your fucking head up, you daft cunt, I'm going to see you. And blinking in it, immediately.
Were you closing your eyes thinking like, if I close my eyes,
Yeah,
I
I'm
can't
thinking
see
I close
me?
my eyes, I can't see anything. That's exactly
If
what
I put my hand like this, it will act as an
I
invisible
was lying
barrier.
there thinking, if I close my fucking eyes tight, if you won't see me, it's 2 seconds, he went, fuck you, bollock, fuck you. Where are you there? And I was like, oh my God.
And then the next time you tried to hide in an attic,
I stepped through it, yeah.
you fell on.
Yeah, because I heard him in that room, and I thought, if I step on this board here, and I just went right through this piece of wood, it wasn't connected, it was just slotted in, and it hit the board and fell right into the ceiling on a police officer having a look in the wardrobe, and all the ceiling collapsed on him.
So if we're going to take anything from tonight, don't hide in attics.
Don't hide in attics.
Don't hide in attics, okay? It doesn't work, okay?
Yeah.
From here, you've been in and out of prison there. And was there coming to a point that prison was becoming...
tedious.
Well, home in a way.
Oh, it was home to me from day one. It was home to me from day one. I knew I was born in prison. I got that. I paid that up for my parents very, very young. I don't know when I was told. I just knew I was born in prison.
Do you feel in a way that there was some sort of self-fulfilling prophecy on that because you knew that and you had so much sort of rage and you were so curious about why that you just felt that you gravitated towards that lifestyle?
Yeah, I felt like it was my home, tell you the truth. Sometimes I'd go to a stranger and all the screws had done me, be like, here's Marv again. What are you back in for, Marv? I'd say, oh, fucking breaking into cars in town, and be like, fucking hell, you need to stop that game, you're not good at it, are you? You know it's getting going.
He's the worst criminal going.
I am the worst criminal going, honestly. I leave my hat in car. I get into a car and leave my hat in it.
There are some stories in your book where you just literally like, it's quite a cute criminal, so just like, I just left my hat in there.
I was just
sometimes,
like, to him.
Sometimes really like, don't do it, for fuck's sake, man, what have you done in it?
Yeah.
Oh, you follow that? You try living it?
No, but you know what, there is one thing that does come, there are quite a few things that come across in the book that, having looked at quite a lot of podcasts that you've been in, I don't feel comes across enough that you had a code that there was a lot of empathy and that you had levels,
of course, there was
that
levels
you would never
to this,
cross.
yes. There's levels to this, man. Yeah, I would never hit women, and I'd never bully women, and I'd never take their money, and I'd always try and do the best for people, whatever situation they was in. I'd always try my very best, you know. I mean, I remember seeing some extremely young girl, and she'd ran from a children's home and flagged the vice down and just went, mate, there's a girl up that street there who's just come from a children's home. I'd literally lay it on the line, you know what I mean, because it's underage and I'd know what, you know what I mean, I would make sure, I just go crossing the line. There's monsters out there, men who are monsters who see a girl and would take them, and whatever had happened, you know, that God forbid, he'd get them on all sorts and get them addicted to whatnot, and then they're on there because they have to be, you know, and I'd never want that, you know. And I've seen a lad who I hated passionately, who's got his sister on the game. Now, if you're walking past your sister while she's selling herself, something wrong with you, you're not a nice person. And I wasn't prepared to see him with the person he was with, and I went, what are you doing? You better leave that girl alone. And I just, you know, gravitated towards that person and tried my best. Yeah, but
there's a lot of that comes across within that there was a code, and you know, you've got more lives than a cat.
Yeah.
Definitely with that, but
Yeah.
also the empathy. And interestingly, it was Ian Brown who inadvertently gave you a taste of what
What it's
it
like to
is
lose
to
the
lose.
most valuable thing you've
Well,
ever had.
it might not be valuable to the person stealing it, but
Yeah.
to the person. So tell us firstly about when you were in
So
prison
Ian
with
Brown, Ian Brown came on the wing for threatening to chop an airline stewardess's arms off in an argument on a flight from America because his girlfriend and his kids lived in America. So he came on the wing and straight away everyone was like, mate, I bet you've took loads of drugs and I bet you've had this and I bet, and he went, mate, I don't take drugs. I've never took drugs in my life. The only thing I've ever tried is ayahuasca. That's what he said. And everyone was trying to get this big bad story out of him and he won't give you one, you know what I mean? He's very, very small, frail, tiny man, you know, very, very small man. Like very small. And I just gravitated towards him straight away. Me and my mate Icy was a burglar but told him he was innocent. Right, and the day Icy come out, he come out with a cardboard piece of paper saying Icy is innocent on it. Right, that's the day he come out. So yeah, he believed Icy. Yeah, Icy used to speak to him through his window. So every day he'd get opened up and we'd just go and sit with him. And every day he'd strip his bed and he'd sit like in a lotus position on his bed with his legs open and he'd be drawing on the mattress, the actual material. And I said, Ian, keep doing that, bro. And I'll grab that before you go. And he went, yeah, of course, Marv. And he wrote this big song on a piece of A2 paper about prison, see a book swinging on a line, and this beautiful big like song he wrote on A2, signed it and all that. Yeah, 1999, I'm sure it was. Sure, that's when I met him. 1999, all over his paper. Ian Brown was here and all that, right? So he gave me this big massive A2 piece of paper and the cutout of his bed. The morning he was going to it, Marv, yeah, I've done this for you. And it was a big square off his bed. I went, oh, brilliant. And I kept it and I got out and I had it in the boot of this car and I'm thinking, look at this, guys, I'm showing it to everyone. Look at this off Ian Brown, it's worth a fortune. I was like, when he done this, he was on the front page of the news. It's worth, and I didn't know who to sell it to, did I? I don't know who to sell it to. I'm just a drug addict.
Yeah, but like if you had that now, it'd be quite easy to sell.
It's extremely
But
easy.
whose car was it?
Well, she bought a car off a punter.
So who
but it
bought
wasn't
the car?
registered in our name, so they seized it, and the girl who I was with, she got a punter to buy as a banger.
Right.
Because it wasn't registered in our names. The police come, seen all the grill, the steering taken off, and took the car.
Right, and did you try to get it back?
We couldn't
But
get
you
it
couldn't
back.
because it wasn't registered in your
I
name.
couldn't get it back. They took it to Collier's police station and knew me there. They wouldn't give me nothing in there. We tried to report a car stolen in there and they refused at the desk. That's how much they hated me in there. They went, no, we're not reporting the car for you. That's what they said.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how much they hated me at there, Collier's police station.
So how long did that empathy last for when you're like, shit, that's what people must feel like when I rob their stuff?
I felt like that for a while, you know, but in my psyche, I knew it was wrong.
Yeah.
But like, here's what I used to never do. I got to the point of not breaking into vehicles. I started getting into open vehicles. That was me MO. I wouldn't get into cars, I wouldn't break into them, so I'd just walk around until I found a car that was open. I'd do miles, but near hotels and stuff, you're always going to find a car open. Take the valuables and sell them, you know what I mean? So I'd take my time. So my MO quickly, the police knew it very quickly. So they started giving me, don't touch a car, bail, don't touch a car, and bail, stay out of town, bail, stay off this street, stay off that street, you know, trying to control me. Then they had a team of police called the Spotlight team, and they was all great people. The police, I had a really good relationship with the police because I wasn't a violent offender. I wouldn't kick off with them and stuff like that, you know. So they was always good to me. So when they arrested me, they wouldn't jump all over me and beat me up, you know what I mean? Although once I did answer my door bollock naked to him in Gorton and said, just take me, because I couldn't find my drug parcel, what I was going to prison with. So I stripped naked and just went, just take me as I am.
Yeah.
Indeed, yeah.
He had it in behind a shampoo bottle.
I'd lost my drug pass, and because I couldn't find it, I was like desperate to take it to prison. I just opened the door, he was booting it, and anyway,
So
he was
9
going to
of
come
them
through it.
sleeping down on the floor, bollock naked.
And
I
I
just
just
shut the front door.
got naked and just
Do what
went.
you want.
I was so upset at losing my drugs, that's what the truth was.
No.
Yeah, so.
Have you seen 28 Years Later?
No, but I was like a zombie. Is that a zombie film?
Yeah.
I did look like a zombie, yeah.
It was
You look worse.
no, it was a reference to the Big Alpha and that, but doesn't matter.
Oh,
He doesn't watch films, he might make out
I
like...
fall
he
asleep
listens
after
to
10 minutes, mate. I've never watched a film.
Really? Never
No,
watched the
I've
film?
been, I've
watched
been
the
with
full
him
film.
all these years and he's never
not
ever
nothing.
stayed
I always
awake
fell
in the
asleep.
cinema in all that time.
I'm one of
Never.
them to fall asleep.
Not what-
Sadly.
Oh, once, apart when we went to see Peppa Pig a few weeks ago with Tom.
Oh yeah, I've seen Peppa Pig all the way through.
Yeah. That's the only film he's in.
So Peppa Pig is your film,
Where's
your
that
go-to
baby
film.
Eva?
When she's
Yeah.
not a baby,
He
yeah.
stayed awake for all that.
Yeah.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Out of all the films ever,
Mammy's fuming now.
Peppa Pig.
but
I
you
think
know
that needs to
what?
be the title of your next book.
Yeah, Peppa was
Lee
in it.
Marvin Hitchman and Peppa Pig. Right, so you spent a lot of time in Moss Side as well, and you were there from like the beginning of
I
the
was.
Gunchester to
Yeah, I
when
was.
it sort of.
Yeah, I was in Moss Side.
What-
It's a crazy place.
Did you have to go there to start to like
What I did,
sell or?
what I did, mate, is I just did what someone crazy as me would do. I just stood on the front line and just acted like I'd always been there. So I stood on Moss Lane East in 1994, when there was just a few drug dealers stood around, and I just said, can I do some work for you? Can I call punters to you and all that? I'll bring you all punters and that, and he'd like, sweet, sell 5, I'll give you 1. So I'd literally be on the main road going, yeah, boys, come here, he's got the best in the park. And then the police had come in the park with put laser lights on us. Don't know if he was armed or not, but he put lights to put us on sights. Let us know that the armed police are watching us, and they chase me in the park and this and that.
Who were you selling for? Which of the gang?
All different
all,
people.
all of them.
All different. The Dodditon had come over on bikes. Watson's All Night Blues was on the corner. So he was on All Night Blues on the corner, and he was gang members around it all night, so I could save up for people all night. Or I'd be in town with the working girls, or the working girls would come
Yeah.
see me because they'd be scared of black man robbing them or whatever. They'd come and stop for me and say, man, get us the crack, you know what I mean? Go and score for me, and I'd get them the crack and obviously get something to go
Did
in.
like the different gangs not say anything about you working like
It was,
selling?
well,
did they
what
not
it was,
care?
back then it was like the gooch kind of stayed on gooch really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, I think more Dodditon and that is more open. There's more people loosely associated with them gangs. I think Gooch is like Gooch, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think Gooch used to come over. They come over in gangs on bikes, you know, a team of them, but you'd never really see like single Gooch boys like selling it on that side of the road, if you know what I mean. It's only when it was on like Claremont Road, I got arrested on Claremont Road in a drug operation eventually in 1996.
Yeah,
It
the
was
Claremont
being filmed.
pub was quite infamous, wasn't everything else?
We was
was
being
fine.
filmed for a 9-month drug operation. It was filmed. It's now a seating area opposite the takeaway. They had an house there what they used to go into every morning and film us from there.
They went dressed as builders, didn't they?
Yeah, they went and dressed as builders and stuff, yeah. And it's funny, when we was all in the cages, about 30, 40 of us all been arrested. 26 of us, and then another operation what they had done as well. I was all in this massive cage in Strange Areas, and one of the lads went, you know what, I always thought there was police going there. I used to see a man going in there at 6:30 in the morning. So we all went, what did you do? I threw eggs up there, innit? And you fucking dickhead, you're telling us that now, after we're all locked up on a drug operation. But, you know, that's how daft people was. It was quite naive, wasn't it? It was crazy, wasn't it? Just people selling on the road, and there was people coming from all over the country to buy drugs off people, you know, and I was just flagging them down, saying, yeah, my man's got the best, because, you know, if you're a drug addict, you want the best drugs, don't you? You don't want to take, you won't want to spend your money on shit quality, would you?
Yeah.
So I'd flag them down and say, he's got the best quality, you know what I mean? Say a nickname all suited them, and they'd ring a bell and they'd be like, oh, is he there? Yeah, I'd say, yeah, he's on the back street. Get him a customer and get money that way, you know what I mean?
And you still
So
heavily using?
Yeah, I was still, of course I was using, yeah. And there was a gang of us who was allowed to do that.
Yeah.
You know, there was a couple of men who, with me, who are my friends, who were still drug addicts to this day. They still do it to this day, who's hanging around them streets and begging bits of this and that off people, you know, but back then you was allowed to, you know, if you was a gang member and you kind of fell off and become an addict, you was allowed to kind of walk around the streets and, you know, flag down customers and stuff and do a bit of robbery and a bit of robbing the customers and stuff like that. You know, it was allowed, you know what I mean?
It wasn't frowned upon though, like...
There was no one really stopping you.
Yeah.
People, you know, like, you get a yard going, no, don't rob them, man. And you'd just be like, yeah, sweet. But people had frowned upon it, but that's about it, you know what I mean? People couldn't do much more back then. I mean, I remember on a Sunday afternoon, a Chinese guy come in a car and went, so we £25 and give me the £25. I just turned away and walked to the takeaway, like literally just blatantly telling him I robbed him, and it was the biggest mistake of my life. Because he had about 5 cars come and he was chasing me all around Moss Side, right? At first he come, I remember he jumped out of his car, started trying to roundhouse kick me, and this yard he was going, Marvin, man, you best go, you know, he's that fucking playing. And he was running around this car, and I think I dropped a tenner, and I kept the 15 quid, and I ran with the 15 quid. And I ran in the old swimming bathroom, and all of a sudden I heard these cars going past, blowing round, and I had these 50 quid in my pocket and I needed to buy crack, and I went out to this Jamaican man. And I said to him, he said to me, he went, Marv, man, you best watch, you know, them coming round for you, they're coming round. And he had that car for about 3 hours going driving round and round for me. And I thought, this is going to stop. Oh, life is just madness.
There's a lot of moments though, that within the book where you're like, shit, you need to stop.
God, all the way.
Like,
many times. I mean, getting beaten round the head with a father and son team. The boy trying to smash
with the dog. Is that with the dog? Yeah.
So I've been robbing shops on Dobbiton estate, right? Gang infested, big gang bangers team on there, loads of men serving up, and me and a guy who's doing life now called Keith, right? I took 40 quid or 60 quid off a couple of punters and then another 40 quid, and we got off Dodderton, and the next morning this guy come for me and went, Marv, get in the car. What you doing last night? And here, man, robbing shops. I went, nah, we was on the main road, didn't he? He went, nah, it's classed as out of state, man, you fucked it. He went, my man wants to see, and it was the head of the gang who wanted to see me. And he kind of knew me, and he always kind of familiar to him. But his son was just an up-and-coming kid then as well, but I'm looking
at... There's a point to prove.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But I said to the man in the car, I said, bro, we're going to get shot. And he went, nah, man, they're just going to beat you up in it, but don't start fighting back with a guy who's just been shot in the head. And I went round, terrified, scared, thinking, shit. And there was all these lads with masks on, and he was there with this crazy dog like this on a piece of, and I went over to him, I'm so sorry, man. He fucking started throwing punches at me. What are you fucking doing robbing my customers? Started punching me, and he's got this dog. This dog's on my legs first. It's coming up higher and it's up here. And I think then it snapped on the outside of my leg, on the outside. And I thought to myself, I've got to do something here. If I don't scream, these guys are going to keep doing this and keep doing it and keep doing it until they hear some noise. Because they want to hear, I'm in some kind of pain, and I'm not in pain because I'm high on the coke. So I can't feel the dog biting me or the beats. Next minute I start going, help! And he gave me a bit of a squeeze then. And then instead of walking away, I went back to the main man to try and apologise for some crazy reason. And he put the dog on me again. But one of the lads, this lad who was there, who we used to smoke with, called Smallsy, he got hold of the dog like this and was like, yo, like it ran, the dog kind of come off the entry into like an entry, come out the avenue, got into this little entry, walking away now, and you've heard the dog, someone go, get him. And I thought, shit. And this Smallsy guy ran with the dog, got the dog and held it, like, I went, Marv, go to the hospital. And I never went to the hospital. I've got all these cuts everywhere up my legs where the dog chewed me to bits, you know. And I still didn't leave my side. I stayed around, and I think I went to Wigginshaw just for that night, and I came back the next day. And at the time, the man them had this gold Lexus, and them boys, and it went past me like this, whoosh, I seen them all looking, and I thought, shit, they're all looking at me then. I thought, what am I going to do here? And this guy was next to me at Marv, man, what are you doing, man? So what happened to you yesterday? You best go. And I don't know if I was frozen fear or whatever, I don't know what it was, but I thought, I'm not going, I'll just stand there. And it went past again, and the guy opened the back door and he come out with a long barrel shotgun, pointed it down. And when I had to swing it up at me, but there was a police officer doing his rounds walking this way. And it was like slow motion. I'm like, look this way, seeing this police officer like that. And he looked over at me, put the gun down and ran down the back street. I thought, shit, man, this is getting a bit mad, man. And he went, Marv, man, go. And I didn't go. I thought, I'm just going to front whatever was happening. Because I remember when I was going in the car to get the beating, my man had said to me, Marv, whatever you do, don't hit him back or anything like that. So just take it. And I thought, shit, man, fronting the main guy here. Next minute I'm stood there, he's come down the road. So he's gone at the side of the takeaway and he's gone, yo, why did you rob? Why are you robbing them, man? Why are you robbing the shots like that, man? I went, I'm so sorry, man, it was just one of them things, man. I was desperate for a pipe and that, and he went, yo, get off the crack and come work for me. He's the same guy, and I was like, no thanks, mate, okay. And then I never got touched after that. Then I think the drug operation shut everything down. Put my tail between my legs and went to Hardwick, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when it got shut down, were you back in jail then, or were you still?
When what got shut down?
When like Moss Side, when all the cops.
Yeah. So what happened was I got nicked first. I met some guy. So, God, I had these two straps. What was in this empty house? What I knew was stashed there. And I knew there was someone's, but I wasn't sure whose. And this guy was staying in this house. I was kind of looking after him, and I had one of them on me, and I just showed it this guy. I was never pointing at him or anything like that. He just knew I had this thing on me. So I was speaking to him, he took me to this house, he lived around the corner. He started smoking crack with me. I don't know if it was his first time or what, I don't know if it was out of fear. In retrospect, I don't know if I terrified this kid and walked to him and went, mate, how are you doing, what are you doing? I've been gunning me, and do you smoke crack? Yeah, I smoke it. And he just got scared, but we ended up he's gone back to his house. And well, he ended up picking some money up out the house anyway, and I got a bit bored, I went into the petrol station on Princess Road, and I got 80 quid out of this car, seen this guy who knows just been drug dealing in town, and he passed me 80 quid. I thought, I don't need to do anything with this guy now, and I left him. And he ended up phoning the police and saying I put a gun to him and forced him to his house and take loads of stuff out the house, take money out the house. But it wasn't true, because we went to the petrol station together, and he tried to buy 200 cigs on his card, so he was high on crack, and he went to the petrol station. I was nowhere near him, and he said he kind of was forced there with a gun, but it wasn't true, and I knew it wasn't true. So I was like, listen, I got arrested for it. I was like, listen, the petrol station will prove to you that I didn't do it, but I got remanded until that was proven. So yeah, while I was on remand, I'm watching Granada News, and I see drug busting Moss Side and all these house doors going in. And I'm like, oh, I recognise that door. I used to buy off him, and I thought, shit, it's all them man getting nicked. And then a couple of hours later, I got shouted to the office, a big piece of paper, here's a production order for selling drugs in Moss Side. So that was me caught for drug dealing. I'd been seen on camera serving up, and he had a roll of VT of me serving up. What had happened was a car had come with two policewomen in it, doing a control purchase. Give me 40 quid, I'd give them half the crack, and he drove away, and that was me arrested. I got 4 years. We all got 4s, 5s and 6s, 26 of us. But a couple of them was carrying a heavy shitloads of crack. One of them flushed these down the toilet, 2 ounces of crack down the toilet on K-Wing, and everyone went crazy, because everyone was like, wow, we would have had that. But the other lad didn't flush his down the toilet, so he asked me to go and get him actual food for crack, and I ran round the wing and got about £120 worth of food in a black bag. Went to court, give it him, and he went, I can't give you the crack, you're going to have to wait. And I thought, nah man, this guy's having my eyes out, he's lying. And I went, no, you better not be lying. He went, no, I've got it, I can't get out of my ass. And he made me wait all day till he got it out of his ass. So I smoked crack out of someone's arsehole, yeah.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, smoking crap out of someone's arsehole.
And were a lot of those the Moss Side sort of gang lot, were they put in the same prison? And were
We was all arrested and
were they on the
co-accused.
same wing? And
We was on the same wing and on the same landings, yeah.
was there lots of kick-offs with like the...
Well, they separate the gangs, don't they?
Yeah.
They separate them. So one of the main lads on the wing once, I was locked up and he went, Marv, it was like 10 to 7, he went, Marv, fucking cause him. Make a scene, I've got to get off the phone to this girl. And me, I got a wooden chair and started banging it going, there's a riot, let's join in, go everyone. Some fucking screw was listening up there and all of a sudden a riot bell went. And I went, was that me who caused that? And I thought, shit, and he put me behind my door. And the lad, my padmate had just been playing bleeding snooker or something, and it all goes on. I went, I'm not sure if that was me, you know, who caused that. And he went, nah, you be sweet, man, you sweet. And I was on a visit the next day for a parcel. I think they'll make the visit. No, I didn't. I got woke up in the morning to this, my ears like this, dead tight, screws holding my ears in position. Went, don't you fucking move, you little bastard. Carried me down to the block and nicked me for intention to incite a riot. Not a good place to do it in HMP Manchester, which had the biggest riot in prison history. You know, they came like the military to stop us, mate, trust me. But the PO and the governor wasn't happy. Give me 28 days down the block for attempting to incite a riot. And 28 days, yeah.
And this was so that your guy could get off? So you
just so
did
the
this
guy
so
could
he-
get off the phone
Get off the
from
phone
his girl.
from his girlfriend?
Yeah.
Resourceful.
Sounds something like
That's-
that, but do
Just
it,
being
show
helpful
me.
again.
Yeah.
Just being helpful once and again, I guess.
Being helpful again.
Yeah.
Right, so within the drug world of Manchester, you feel that you brought spice to Manchester.
Sadly, yeah, I do.
When did you first start on spice?
So Spice was 2012 and it wasn't about in Manchester at the time. There was no shop selling Spice in Manchester. And I went to Stockport. It was only the main guy on the prison that told me where to get it from. He said, you can buy it in Stockport. And I went to this shop and there was a white guy with dreads to the floor in this shop. That's all toads and live plants in there and all that lot. And he had packets of it in there and I was just buying it and going off with cake at home. But I stopped taking crack, I'd stopped smoking crack by then. I decided in prison I was going to stop smoking crack. And I meant it, I got out and just started smoking spice. And it kind of took over, you know what I mean? And I never touched crack ever since then. That's been like 14 years or so, but the spice was an extremely, extremely addictive drug, very, very dangerous. Immediately I had side effects of it. I used to wake up boiling hot, I mean hot like a cooker, soaking wet, rolling round in agony, writhing round on a bed in just total mess. Anxiety attack, can't think straight, just burning up. No one can help you, no one can speak to you, you can't start spinning round. And after a few hours it slowly wear off and then you jump back to have another joint then and do it all over again, you know, very dangerous.
Yeah, it was mad when I remember like coming back to Manchester in the city centre, and for those that live there, I remember just coming back like one
And it was just like
summer,
a zombie
and
zone.
It was literally 28 days later.
It
like,
was
zombies,
indeed,
I can't
yeah.
move.
It was because the spice was so cheap, right? So my thinking was, all my mates was addicts, addicted to crack. This is better than crack, it's stronger than crack, it's cheaper. So my mates who was on the floor begging, I'd go, bro, try this is sick. Have a little go at it, don't have too much. And they'd literally try and go, fucking hell, what's that? Literally, you know, the addicts.
It's strange when you say like it's cheap, but then we sort of don't realise that there's that newsagent on, was it on Oldham Street, where the guy
Off Oldham
just
Street.
off Oldham Street
I used to go
selling.
there to get it. When we
Yeah,
was at
so
work.
the newsagent in Oldham Street where
Selling
they
it.
used to sell
He
it.
made
and
£1 million.
he made them bit like it's cheap,
Yeah.
but he made
He made £1 million
like,
pound.
That's a
Made
lot.
£1 million
About that
on his
news
bike.
agent now, yes,
The police was going to him in the end saying, stop selling it, lad, it's going to be illegal in like 2 weeks, you need to stop it, and he was still getting
Because it was
upset.
illegal
He
hire.
was still
He was-
waking up at 5 o'clock and opening his shop.
But
He's
like £1
serving
million,
out
like within a year,
They
like
threw him out of that shop now, didn't they? Do you know
Yeah,
where he
yeah.
is now in Hume? You've seen him in Hume now in some little dead area. Yeah, he's still in Hume now. He's not in Manchester City Centre anymore. They kicked him out for it. But he's not asking. He made £1 million, didn't
yeah. It's funny, like all those shops in Northern Quarter, like the ones that are still, you know, they've been around for.
he? Yeah,
There's always a story in it, like the sex shop.
yeah.
Like that's where, not for that
Gizmo.
reason, yeah.
Yeah.
Not because you want to buy dildos or something, but
Yeah,
yeah.
that's where you used to like get all your stolen
Buy it
goods.
all.
Yeah,
Sell
no.
all my stolen stuff. Yeah.
So yeah, like the sex shop and just near what's the
Yeah,
road
the sex
called?
shop was the biggest. Tib Street.
Yeah, just round the corner. Yeah, Tib Street.
Yeah, he was the biggest buyer of stolen goods
Yeah, so
probably in Manchester.
I remember like back in the day, like my cousin's saying that you can get like Eclipse stuff and like certain jackets and stuff
Oh yeah.
from him.
Yeah.
But that's it. All those shops have got a story, haven't they?
They have indeed, yeah. I mean, I remember breaking into the sex shop van, right, and getting a big tray of porn and running up the road and then thinking, what the fuck am I going to do with this? Who's going to buy all this, right? So I ran back to the shop. The van was still there, thank God. I went in, I went, mate, I've just seen some lad with this up the road and clearly endures. Fucking, I would have seen it was me, would have battered me, big fellas, big fucking bulky fellas. All in the shop, like, what do you mean, who was it? Take us up. I went, nah, he's gone, lad. He was just a little junkie lad. I took him off. Give me 40 quid. Whoa, shame, mate. You know, they would have battered me that day. But yeah, I got battered once being in some lad's car, a bouncer, mooching on a Saturday night. His doors was open in a VW Golf. I've opened the door and sat in it next to me. I just kept getting rabbit punched off this bouncer. He's going, what are you fucking doing in my car? You robbing my car? And he's dragged me out and he's dragged me over to the bouncer, phone the police, and this bouncer knew me and went, nah, don't phone the police, let him go. And got me released off the guy.
I suppose it
That's all in the
was
next
pretty
day,
much
apologised.
second nature though for you to look at car doors, and obviously they had the
Yeah,
lot.
catches.
Yeah, not like the automatic stuff.
Yeah,
So that
no,
was
you
like,
probably know you can't do it now, but yeah,
Yeah.
back then you could.
so that was
Like
like
all
second nature.
BMWs and Mercedes, if you see a catch on any of them, the door and the boot's open.
Yeah.
Try and know who's there, guys, yeah.
There you go, learning something new today, people.
But yeah, and I used to
Don't
just-
hide in attics, catches. There you go. Don't say this is not educational.
I used to do that just as the norm. That was just norm to me though. But I would never handbag snatch or women or anything. That was never my thing. You know, I've been offered a few times, mind you, what, do an handbag snatch with big money wages. And I'm like, nah, mate, it's not for me, all that. It's not for me. I'd never do nothing worse than a theft. I promised Kara in the end I wouldn't commit worse crime than theft. And I meant it, you know, because I didn't want to go to prison, but I was an addict. And I had Judge Gilbert. I'll tell you the story. I had the Recorder of Manchester on my tag. So I had a tag, and the Recorder of Manchester, the main judge of Manchester, used to see me every month. And every month my hours was all wrong, but he'd still keep me out of prison because he knew I was trying. I was an addict, but I was trying my hardest to change. So he'd listen to my story and say, right, I'm going to give you another month of freedom. And in the end, I ran away one dinner time and I'd done too much, and I knew he was going to send me to prison. And I had a piece of crack on me and I went, I can't do it, I can't go back to prison today. I ran. Dinner time, smoked off, and he's looking for me. Where is he? He fucking let me down, he has. And in the end, he could have given me 2 years, and he gave me 4 months, I think.
The starting minimum was 2 years.
Yeah, he could have given me 2 years, and he gave me 4 months. Because he knew my struggle. Judge Gilbert would rest his soul. He sentenced all the rioters afterwards and gave them massive sentences. So he was an animal, proper big sentences you got. You know what I mean? And he meant his job, you know. So.
Why do you think he had that soft spot for you? I mean, you say that he saw that you wanted to get off it.
He did. He saw I wanted to change. I was on a tag, and I kept breaking the tag because the tag times were just these insane times. They had me on a tag from 2 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's when I was allowed out. Yeah? Did you hear me right there?
Yeah.
2 a.m.
2 p.m.
to 2 p.m. I was allowed out of my house. And we asked them when he went, so we catch a burglar. I was never a burglar, I was only, you know what I mean? We just wanted to catch me desperately grafting. That's what they said, didn't they?
Yeah.
We want to catch you burgling. And I was like, okay, well, you're never going to catch me doing that. And so yeah, the curfew was to make me fail it, I think.
On purpose, setting you up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was the exact words, but set you up to fail.
yeah. But the judge seen the madness in it, I think, and had a bit of sympathy for me. Seen I was trying, you know what I mean? Seen that my crimes wasn't no bad criminal doing messy crimes, you know what I mean? He was just all desperate addict. Crimes of an addict, you know? And I had the power in me to change. I always knew I had the power in me to change. And I always knew I'd sit and tell my story someday. I always knew someday that would come.
I mean, there's so many parts to your story. I mean, we won't be able to cover them all, and that's why buy the book, people.
It's great, everyone.
It is a great read. It is a great read. I read it twice. Just saying. When did your addiction start to turn around? What were the key points?
There was a lot. There was a few key points. I will credit. There's nothing like a good woman behind you to make you change, I think.
And when did you meet Kira then? Tell us about
I met Kira on a New Year's Eve, walking down the street with a working girl outside of her and this monster guy this side of her. And I was in a full-face balaclava because it was cold, on a BMX. And I pulled my belly up and went, what are you doing with her? And I said to her, what are you doing with him? Because he's a monster. And the spa was open and he ambled into the spa. And I said to him, what are you doing with this guy? He's a monster, he's going to have you on the beat before you can blink. And she went, oh, who do you think you are talking to me like that? Who are you? And I was like, girl, you need to get away from him. Here's my number. If you ever need me for anything, phone me. I said, because he's an animal in. And something, I don't know what it was, we swapped numbers. I think I give her my phone to take my number, she put her number in. And about half an hour later, I rung her back. I knew something wasn't right, I knew something wasn't right. She stayed in my mind, couldn't get her out of my mind. And I phoned her, and she burst into tears, she's crying her eyes out and just told me just beating her up in the gay village. So I went, what, stay there, I'm gonna go and fucking live it in. So I rid up to the gay village, and he wasn't there, she was outside crying, and she just said he just beating me up and stuff. And I said, where the fuck is he? And my mate on the door who I knew, you know, he's just leaving, he's a fucking dickhead. Thought I'd get him another time, which I did. And I took her and had a heart to heart with her and talked to her, you know, and tried to make her see sense and get away from him. And sadly that night he got her and did lots of naughty things, and she never dealt with him again. But yeah, he was a bit of a monster. He had her when she was a bit too young. So the laws of the land say that you can't be with girls who are underage, and he was a monster. Like he was having schoolgirls in his house and putting them on the game and forcing them to take drugs and stuff like that and beating them up and stuff. So I knew that I had to help the girl who he was with fucking see sense and get away from him, you know. And I was only living at my niece's house. I only had a spare room in my niece's house. So I said to my niece first, I've got this girl who I know who I've just met, and she went, nah, you're not having no fucking smackhead crackheads in my house. And I went, nah, she's not on the game or anything, she's not like that. I said, she's not on drugs at all, she's just need somewhere to stay. And I said to Kira, get your stuff, you can stay with my niece. And my niece was only a couple of years, I was like quite a few years older than Kira, but my niece was only 2 years old, and he was very close to age, so we got on very well, you know what I mean? And I was more or less wanted straight away. I was a drug addict. I told her, look, I'm a drug addict, you know what I mean? I've got to go out every day and get drugs. But I kind of kept it. I never ever brought crack around anyone. My family never seen it. None of my family ever seen me smoke it. And none of my partners, I would not smoke it around people. You know, I'd have to respect not to use it near them. So I never used it in their presence, you know, and then I'd go home then and try and live a normal life, you know.
Okay, so you sort of say, Kira, that was the beginning of you
that was the switches to try and get me to change. Yeah, I was hating it years before. I wasn't happy when I was addicted to drugs. I used to phone carer in tears, and I'd literally have a £200 piece of crack on me and I'd waste it. You don't understand. I'd just waste it all and go home, just burn it all, you know, and just go home.
So that was the beginning of you deciding, I'm really going to give this.
I thought that every sentence though. And I told myself every single sentence I did, I'm never going to touch it again. And then the minute I got money in my hand, I went and used it again. So I think, power come from various places to stop, you know.
And the
I had
connection.
my adoption file opened as well. And the woman said to me, while you're on drugs, it's not right that you get that open.
And that was another motive then to get clean.
Yeah, I was going through counselling a lot. And I went through counselling for many, many years. People don't understand the counselling I went through to meet my birthday was insane. I had about 20 visits with the counsellor, and every time she'd say to me, Lee, there's not always an happy ending at the end of the rainbow, and I never knew what she meant. I never knew what she meant. I just used to listen, couldn't listen to that, yeah, happy ending, that, yeah, rainbows, yeah, sweet. What's wrong with going to meet with mum and my birth family, you know? And she went away one day and went, yeah, I'm going to open your file for you now. And she went away and she came back, phoned me and said, come in on Tuesday. We're all hyped up thinking, yeah, man, I'm going to go and see my mum, everything's going to be good. And sadly, you know, I got my mum's death certificate, you know. So I was never going to see my mum again, you know what I mean, my mum.
And that happened at the same time to your adopted mum passing away?
No, that was the same time
Was that the
Kira's
same time
dad
Kira's
was dying.
Okay.
So Kira's dad was dying at the same time. So we was going through a very, very hard time.
Hard time, like, yeah.
He was terminal. When you see someone dying in front of you, there's nothing worse than a terminal illness, you know. Because you know every day it could be your last, do you know what I mean? And he was going in and out of hospital and we're thinking he's going to die now and then he'd get out a few weeks and live a bit longer. So it was very hard on everyone, you know. And what was making it hard was I'm being told, we've found your birth, Dad. We've just found, here's your birth, Dad. And I'm just losing my best mate, my dad, Kira's dad, you know, we were respected and loved, you know what I mean? And then the two things was very, very hard for me to take. You know, the buzz of meeting my birth family and then my dad. And then he was a very big disappointment on my dad from minute one I met him.
What, in what way?
Well, he was just an addict straight away. I could see he was on drugs and he was an addict from the minute I saw him, you know. I know a drug addict when I see one.
Yeah.
I could tell he was on bits. And then we walked away from these lot, my aunties. He'd come with my two aunties. And he didn't want to tell me himself that he was my dad. He told my partner to tell me, which I thought was strange. So then I've got this guy in front of me who looks like me. I'm thinking, wow, when he's on the phone and doing a deal for Valium, it's those blue tablets. And I knew just out of conversation, I didn't have nothing else to say to him, that you could buy fake tablets on Berry New Road. And I just said it to him out of fucking nothing else to say to him. Went, oh, you can get them tablets on Berry New Road. He went, what Valium? And I went, yeah. He went, hey, how much? And I went, about a tenner for 28. No way, get me some, please, son. I'll pay you when you come down, please get them there. And I rid down to Berry New Road, and when I bought them, I lost 20 quid. The wind snatched 20 quid out of my pocket.
Oh.
And I thought, this is a big, bad idea. But you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and see what happens because he wants it. That's all he's asking for. So he was on the phone, be like, oh, you do? We've got them tablets. Oh, no, they're like, yeah. They're like, right, I will see you when you get down here. I got the money for you. And he took the tablets, didn't give me a penny. I thought, bad start this. He's not giving me a bean.
Yeah.
He's not giving me a bean for the tablets, bad start. And so he went in the toilet, had a few drinks, and then sat in front of me and my partner and started telling us, yeah, I used to put guns to women's heads when I was younger and force them on the game. Like, what? Yeah, I had a gun and I used to put knives and force them to inject heroin and get them high. really? It's like, yeah, I was a bad company when I was younger. Even to your mum, I used to go on at her for giving you up my only son. But he said to me, he told me this story, what just blows my mind to this day. He said to me, it's a good thing you never come to London anyway, you'd have been dead. And I went, well, what do you mean? He went, well, I was in an house taking drugs and I found a baby dead, blue, in a cot, and the baby got taken and was dead. And then I find out at Christmas time, this Christmas time, that was my brother.
Right.
I only found out recently that was my brother. He never told me. So why me and him are never going to speak again is because he's dead now. My dad was killed recently, stabbed to death. 4 people charged with his murder. He was given £180,000 compensation for being abused in it as a kid in a home called Shelley Oaks, and I've read into that Shelley Oaks and they murdered kids in there. These depositions of people and stuff, like there was an inquiry, so the inquiry's reports are available on Google. So he was abused in Shelley Oaks Children's Home, and then after that he was given £180,000 compensation, spent a lot on drugs, give my half brother 10 grand, my half brother to my dad, give me nothing, knew I was alive, knew I had a son, didn't phone me once, didn't give me a bean, and I'd never said a bad word to him, just fell out, never spoke to me again after. He's supposed to have turned up for a DNA test one day at my auntie's office. My auntie's got a travel agency in central London, and we said, all right, we'll do a DNA test to prove you're my dad. But 2 o'clock come, 3 o'clock come, 4 o'clock come, 5 o'clock come. He never turned up, and about 5:30, 6 o'clock, my auntie went, yeah, phone there for you. Your dad's on the phone. Eric's on the phone, or George, whatever his call was. And he went, I'm so sorry, Sam, what it is, I've got some bird coming off a flight from fucking Amsterdam, and she's got a parcel up, and she can't get out herself. I've got to be here to when she comes off the flight. I'm so sorry, Sam, another time. And that was that. That was the last time I ever seen him. Last time I ever seen him. 2-3 years later, he gets stabbed to death. So it's been a good 2, 3, 4 years since I've been seeing him. So yeah, he had enough time to make it up for me, and he did tell me that